Greetings and shalom to all of you. Welcome to this broadcast. Of course, this is the moment where we gather to have discussions on the word that has been written to the saints, to the Church of Yeshua HaMashiach, and I'm always overjoyed to know that I have the opportunity to share these moments with you. If you can see clearly and you can hear clearly, please indicate while you join the broadcast. And while you do so, I also bid you shalom, which is a greeting that's given to saints, as also an instruction that you must always be at shalom, which is peace, which it means to have conviction that it is always well. It doesn't matter what surrounds you, it doesn't matter what you face, it is well. And with that assurance, I greet you today. Thank you, Neil. Thank you for the feedback. It is well, saints, and I bid you all shalom. Blessings to you. Yahweh is faithful. As the scripture records, his mercies endure forever. Brother Brian, Sister Diane, and others, so good to see you. Pastor Woods and everyone else, it's good to see you all. Of course, we know that in this week, we would have, well, that would have been the past week, this week, we would have placed the remains of our sister Sharon McBean into the ground, for her soul and her spirit are already with Yahweh. And I said that to declare to you that it is well, because for her it has always been well. Regardless of what we face in this life, as saints, the declaration for us is about shalom, and that it is well. Greetings to all of you. We have got such wonderful news that on the 31st of July, according to Pope Gregory's calendar, that's next Sunday, at 12, we'll be meeting at the Bamia Creek, because the pool situation has got a time constraint attached to it, and that's going to be a challenge for us, knowing who we are and how we function. So just because it's the first time we'll be gathering with different saints, those out of town, those in Linden, and other places, we are gathering at one place. So we want to ensure that we've got the opportunity. Sister Violet as well, exactly. We've got the opportunity to really interact and have fun as saints. So what we'll do, we have the immersion, it's not baptism. To be baptized speaks in some circles speaks to being sprinkled with water and christened. We do not christen you either, which means to give you a name. The term christen means to give a name to someone, essentially. So you don't just name the child at home and then come to church, as people say, and say you're here to christen the child, because the child already has a name. So what we do is we immerse you, which means to submerge you entirely in water. We gather at Bamia Creek, therefore, and we'll have matzah, which is unleavened bread. We'll have the fruit of the vine, and then we're going to interact, have fellowship. I'll be preaching right from that environment. The signal there is terrible, so I don't know how we'll be able to stream live, but we'll see what happens. I may have to climb a tree or something, but something's going to work out. Alright, so welcome. You can see and you can hear clearly. Great. We are in the Gospel according to Matthew chapter 6, still dealing with what I have come to discover is an essential lesson to all saints, which is being taught, or you're being taught to pray, or saints being taught the truth as to how you really should pray, what you should pray about, what should you say, what you should not say. Very important. And so we're teaching on this. More than likely next week, the Yahweh willing, on Sunday while we gather in fellowship at Bamia, I'll be sharing this with you further in prayer. Because we must get this aspect of our lives right. And the reason why some people always have to have a fight regarding prayer is because they don't know how to pray. They were never taught the truth about how to pray, and hence they don't know what to do. Others have got religious itches that they have to scratch, since they believe that if they do not pray for a particular period of time, they have not done their Christian service to their moral consciences. We do not function in that manner. So we'll deal with this matter today, and actually you'll see I'll spend less time with you because I have a wedding ceremony to perform. Even that I pay keen attention to because we do not function by rituals. And so Apostle Thomas and I will be officiating at the ceremony today at 4 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time, Eastern Standard Time as well. And that will be done quite differently. But that wouldn't be streamed live, so hopefully one day you'll be able to see somebody's wedding streamed live. Alright, the Gospel according to Matthew chapter 6. Shalom and blessings to all of you joining us now. Chapter 6, verse number 13. This is Yeshua teaching the disciples to pray. They asked a question. One of them asked a question of him. What should we say? How? Teach us to pray, he said, in the same manner as Yochanan would have taught his disciples. And, before I go there, sorry, forgive me, because I'll come back to the report as well with some instructions. If you are in Georgetown, East Coast, Babies, wherever you are, and you want to come to the immersion and fellowship, it's not just immersion. We're not just putting water, and that's the end of the matter. We'll be praying, actually be preaching and discussing as we do now, in person. What a wonderful moment it is. So if you want to be there, there are two people so far, Pastor Miller and another sister from Canada, who are willing to pay to charter a bus to have you brought to Linden. However, please give your names today. Send me it in my inbox, or so we can have certain names. We can have a number to work with, hence we know the size of the bus we're going to need. That has to be done by Tuesday. Please. So submit your name so we can have this done. Pastor Reggie is supposed to get back to me. Pastor Mel, please get to Pastor Reggie as quickly as possible. Bishop Woods, Pastor Woods, you have him too. So that in New Jersey on Sunday, I think some saints are trying to travel from Connecticut to come down to be immersed. We want to work that out as well. All right? So get your names to me in my inbox if you want to be here. We meet at Ashman's, that's by Parliament Building. That's the easiest place for most people to find. And the bus will leave from there to bring you into Linden. Please let us know now, so that if you don't need the bus, because maybe 2 or 3 vehicles coming, apart from that, if you can all fit, then we don't need a bus. We don't have to charter that bus. We can give the saints some money for fuel. All right. So the Gospel according to Matthew chapter 6, verse number 13. Yeshua was teaching the disciples to pray, and in the final aspect of it, he said he's teaching them what to say, where they're going to ask not to be led into hard testing. And we take it from there and get into the part where kingship, power, and glory were mentioned. The disciples were taught to ask the Father to not lead them into hard testing. Let's begin right here. And the reason was given afterwards, for, according to King James and other crazy versions of course, they said, for thine is the kingdom. Old English, thine is the kingdom. For kingship it's saying, therefore, power and glory are yours forever. So look, many of you I know, I can guarantee with my life on the line that you have never collated or conflated, which is to put something together, these two statements. And it's not a wrong thing to do. I'm just saying I can guarantee it hasn't crossed your mind. He taught them to ask a favor of the Father. Do not lead us into hard testing, but keep us safe, listen to the terminology, from the evil one. For kingship, power, and glory are yours. So 4 speaks of the reason. Please, let's get deeper into this text. Yeshua is teaching the disciples how to pray. And in teaching them to pray, we come upon a very interesting aspect at the end of this prayer, where, 1, he's teaching them to ask the Father for them to not be tested in a hard manner. Because one of them who's tested in a hard manner is Yehuda. His name is not Judas. And the test that he faced resulted in Hasatan possessing him. It says in scripture that Hasatan entered Yehuda, and he went and sought a means to betray Messiah, Yeshua. he would have never done it unless he had been possessed. And I must reiterate, if you've heard me say this before, fine, but if you haven't, maybe some of you are new to the broadcast, you hear this for the first time, or new to my platform. Kepha, most people focus on Yehuda because they say Judas, and Judas betrayed Christ. Yehuda was possessed, but I want to share something with you. Yeshua HaMashiach looked at Kepha one day when they were together, and he said, Shimon, Shimon, meaning rock, because Kepha was also called Shimon. And he said to him, Satan has asked me for you. Pay attention, as Apostle Stephen would normally say. Satan has asked or made a request or a demand for you. Now, since we're talking about prayer here, and most people normally are at their deepest when it comes to prayer, you need to hear this statement. Yeshua doesn't lie. He looked at one of his own disciples and said that Shimon, which is a call name or rock, Shimon, his real name is Kepha. Satan, the devil, the adversary, has made a request of me, because Satan knew that Kepha was Yeshua's disciple. So Satan followed basic protocol here. He understood authority. So he made a request of Yeshua to have Kepha. I hope you get that. Yeshua said something to Kepha himself. He said that I have prayed for you, that your trust or your faith doesn't fail you. Watch this. He never said that I told Satan that he cannot have you. Remember this prayer here. When you're praying, he said, ask the Father to not have you enter into hard testing. But at the same time, when he taught them this, none of them was saved. Not one of them was saved. Because without the shedding of blood, sin is not taken away, or sin is not remitted. There's no remission of sin. For that reason, although Kepha was a disciple of the Lord Yeshua's, he was still under the authority or the umbrella of sin. He wasn't yet a saved person. So Satan by right made a demand because Kepha was not yet a saved person. So Kepha was under the tutelage or the instruction and the guidance of the Lord Yeshua HaMashiach, but he was not yet saved. So Satan had every right to make the request. Yeshua did not say no, because Yeshua also functioned by principle. He said, Satan has made a demand of me that I should turn you, Kepha, over to him. Do you understand what it is? For your own Lord, Adonai is Lord in Hebrew, Adonai is a name. For your master to tell you to your face that the devil has asked or made a demand, is what the word in Hebrew speaks to, of me, for you. The dogs are fighting. What's the war about? What's the war? And Shiloh? Okay. We have a dog fight. Crawl. We have a dog war. That's okay. This is fun. The dogs are fighting. Put her upstairs. Right. So imagine your Lord is telling you that the adversary has made a particular request, now you can hear me clearly today, great. The adversary has made a particular request. That request is for Kepha. Why Kepha? Oh. Okay. Why Kepha? Why didn't he ask for Tamar? Why didn't he ask for Yaakov? Why didn't he ask for Yochanan? Why Kepha? Why didn't he ask for Philip or one of them? Why Kepha? Good. You have to take note of what surrounds you, even as somebody who's being taught to pray. What is your general deportment as a saint? And you have to be cautious of it. Kepha was known whenever Yeshua brought a matter of truth to them, more often than not, of critical truth. For example, when Yeshua said, I have to die, I have to be crucified. Kepha said, no, be it far from you. He essentially was saying to Messiah, do not do the will of your Father. Kepha was opposed to the will of the Father. Yehuda never said that. If your character as a saint is that you are always or generally under pressure, or when you hear something that's really, really, really too hot in your brain to handle, you are opposed to it without knowing or sensing the will of the Father in it, your prayers are worthless. If as a saint you are insensitive to understanding the will of the Father in matters, but whenever something hits your head and you think it's too big, you just fight against it, your prayers are useless. Because Kepha was unaware that he was acting as an agent of Hasatan while he was a disciple of Yeshua. As a disciple of Yeshua, Kepha was an agent of Hasatan in certain situations. That's why Yeshua turned and told him, hey, get behind me, Hasatan. Remember that? He said, you're an offense to me. Why he said that? Because Kepha was opposed to the will of the Father, though Kepha was a disciple of Yeshua. Some of y'all, I notice, you function better by human intellect and preferences. You're not saints in your conduct. You're Gnosticists, or Gnostics, I should say. You are high-level thinkers. Everything feels about reasoning and rationale. And what feels proper. Where is the will of your Father? You are not supposed to, as a saint, function by thinking that Yahweh owes you an explanation for anything in this life. Let's just get it clear. The will of your Father is for you to face persecution, for you to face trial, for it is through trials that you enter the kingdom. So if your prayer is always about escaping testing, then your prayers are worthless because you don't want to face any test. If you are some praying person and at the end of the day you have got all, thank you Lord, exactly, morals make you choose against the will of Yahweh, correct? You're a praying person, but at the end of the day you have got some public persona to always be mindful of. You must always be Miss Nice Guy. No. So Kepha, I give another. Remember the example with Yeshua coming to them in the night, in the storm, and he said, "Don't be afraid of his eye. I am." Kiefer said, Lord, if it's you, and most crazy preachers you heard me tell you before, said, oh, Kiefer was the one with the faith because Kiefer said, Lord, if it's you, let me come walking on the water. Kiefer was the one who had no faith at all. Let me just get it straight to you, because he was the one who said, although Yeshua said, I am, nobody else on the boat said, well, I don't believe you. If it's you, let me come walking on the water. Only one. Only Mr. Kiefer, whom Hasatan asked for afterwards, because his general deportment was to oppose and disbelieve. He said, if it's you, not because it's you. Lord, if it's you. Adonai, if it's you, let me come walking looking just like you then. That's what he said. Because he did not believe what Yeshua said. So he challenged the master to prove that it is really you. The only way he's saying to Yeshua that I believe it's you is if I do what you're doing. So Yeshua said, come here. And we all know that he sank because he was not qualified to challenge anybody. That same Kiefer, that was not a faith statement. That was not a statement of him being promoted as all y'all. Oh my God, many preachers like this. Yes, Kiefer was the man. You have to have faith like Kiefer. Don't have it. Do not have faith like Kiefer before he was saved. Because before he was saved, he was an opponent. What is wrong with these dogs today? Oh. Please forgive the little alarm bells. They work. They're doing their job. So if they bother you, I can't help you. Kiefer was an opponent in many instances of what Yeshua said. So Yeshua, when he was asked for Kiefer, said, I have prayed for you. Larissa let them preach. Yeshua said, I have prayed for you that your faith doesn't fail you. And when you are converted, meaning when you come back, that's what converted means. When you have returned, strengthen your brothers. Which means that Yeshua released Kiefer to Hasatan. Hamashiach, the Messiah, released Kiefer to the devil. Let me make it clear to you. Let me be pellucid for you all this afternoon. Yehuda never once betrayed, never once denied Yeshua. Yehuda never once denied Yeshua. Never. Corinne is asking, Apostle, wasn't Kiefer the one who confessed that Yeshua is the Christ, exactly the Son of the living God? It was Kiefer who said that. Correct. So Kiefer declared, and Yeshua said, flesh and blood didn't reveal this to you. Remember that? But it was my Father. And then after Kiefer said, you wouldn't die. You shouldn't die. No, be it far from you. And then he said, I want to die with you too. You wouldn't go alone. And all of these actions are statements of his in reference to you shouldn't die, let me die with you, because you shouldn't die alone. They were not statements made given to him by the Father Spirit. So Kiefer was released. Yehuda said to the chief priests and others, he is the one. That's the Messiah. That's what Yehuda said. So Yehuda pointed out who Yeshua was. Kiefer said, I don't know him. Do you see the difference? Yehuda said, he is the person. That's the exact person. Kiefer said, I don't know this person. Who's worst? Because, you have to get this now. Remember Yeshua said to him, Shimon, speaking to Kepha, Hasatan has demanded to have you. And I've prayed for you that your faith doesn't fail you. Remember he said that? But when you come back, strengthen your brethren. Why did he say that to him? Because if you lie, you are acting as an agent of Hasatan. So while Kepha was controlled by Hasatan, he said, I don't know this man. I don't know him. Who's the father of lies? Right. So he was under the control of Hasatan. And he lied. The evil one, Hasatan, had control over two of Yeshua's disciples, Kepha and Yehuda. The hard testing, the tough testing, is not something that saints are supposed to be afraid of now. Why? Because once you possess the Spirit of the Father and you call a saved person or a saint, then you can endure hard testing as a good soldier. You can endure just about anything once you have got the Spirit of the Father dwelling in you. They didn't have the Spirit of the Father dwelling in them at that point. Hence, they could not deal with hard testing. But that's why Kepha lied. But because you have the Spirit of the Father in you now, how can you tell me that you cannot endure hard testing now? I submit to you, saints, that you are positioned for hard testing because you are equipped with the Spirit of the Father. You could deal with anything at this moment in time in your life. Just have that degree of confidence. In all these things, said the scriptures, we are more than conquerors through him who loves us. So don't tell me that you can't deal with it. You can endure anything at this time in your life. So this prayer is not what you're supposed to be saying. Oh, Father, don't lead me into testing. Why? If it is through tribulation that you inherit the kingdom, how can you not have hard testing? How can you not face trials that are difficult for the average person to deal with? You can handle it because you now possess the Spirit of the Father. They didn't have him at that time. So let's get into the part of the text that'll make me spin in my head if I have to this afternoon, because I don't get excited about money and house and car. This here, he said, now, keep us from the evil one. Then what to transition? For yours is the kingdom. Or yours is kingship. Why is he saying that keep us from hard testing, keep us safe from the evil one? Because the kingdom is yours. You see, there's a reason why he said you could keep us from hard testing. Here we go. Here we go. That was not for us, by the way, but I'm just saying in principle here. Because Yahweh has kingship. Kingship attached to him. He is the king. Once he is called the king, then he has got the power to determine what test you face as his subject, what life you live as his subject, what degree of trial, tribulation, whatever else it is, peace, anything. The king has absolute power over your fate. F-A-T-E. Swallow, because we're about to fall off a cliff here with this teaching this afternoon. There are not many saints who have come to grips or accept what kingship is about in reference to Yahweh. Because Yahweh has got kingship, every subject, including Hasatan, including the anti-Messiah, is under his control. Breathe, breathe, y'all. Including you and your enemies. Yahweh cannot be the immortal king, the king that's over all. And anybody can escape his will. I hinted at this yesterday for y'all, in reference to these modernized demonic donkey doctrines that suggest, and it has been around for a while, that you can choose to reject the Messiah. How? You tell me here. How can you choose to reject the will of Yahweh if the will of Yahweh is sovereign over everything? Sanchi says someday she wonder why she's tuning in. I don't know why you do this to yourself, Sanchi. Why do you set yourself up like this? Saints, everything concerning the will of Yahweh is under his divine power. You cannot escape his will. You cannot avoid his will. You cannot change his will. Neither can you reject it. I want you to tell me, how then can you or any preacher tell you that you can reject the will of the Father? So they offer you salvation if it's theirs and you can reject it. Everything that hurt you to the core of your being has to do with the will of your Father. Everything that brings you ultimate joy has to do with the will of your Father. Everything that you hate to do, but you have to do, is within the will of your Father. You have no choice when it comes to the power of Yahweh's will. Now understand that, because that is what brings us assurance. So the disciples were taught, listen, you want to be kept from the evil one? It comes under the kingship of your Father. If Yahweh wills you to be kept from Hasatan, Hasatan can't do anything to you. But if Yahweh exposes you to the will of Hasatan, you can't stop it either. Oh, Pastor Mel, you know the Assemblies of God and other stuff, but his permissive will. Permissive will? You don't understand kingship, because that's what I want to bring us to here. He said, asks to be kept from hard testing because the kingship belongs to Yahweh. You have to get the connection here. Ask the one who could make you be tested in a rough way not to let it happen, because it is not Hasatan who determines whether you test it. Get this. It is not the devil that tests you in a hard way. Oh my God, saints, you have to get this. It is not the devil who tests you in a hard way. It is Yahweh who tests you through temptation by the devil. You get it yet? It is Yahweh who tests you. He doesn't tempt you. Through temptation by the devil. Hasatan doesn't test anybody. Why? But I'm happy that you asked me. Hasatan cannot test any saint because Hasatan doesn't own any saint. Just put that in your memory bank. Hasatan cannot test you, for he doesn't own you. Okay, fine. Let's go to mechanics and engineering then. Mercedes doesn't test Toyota. They have no right to test a Toyota because it's not theirs. So in a Mercedes manufacturing plant, they test Mercedes. In Toyota assembly line, they test Toyotas because Mercedes owns Mercedes. So they test what they own. You cannot tell me that Hasatan tested you heartily. Stop that foolishness. Hasatan can tempt you by the will of the Father. But Yahweh tests you in whatever way he chooses. So they were taught in your prayer, ask the Father who's teaching them not to put you in a test that you can't handle. But I'm saying to you without reservation today, you don't pray this. Because we have got the assurance and the faith to know that because we have the Father in us, in reference to His Spirit, we could face the hard testing. Because His Spirit tells us that where you are is where you are supposed to be. It's called the prepared place. So there's a place prepared for you to be tested in. And the beauty in it is that you cannot fail. You cannot fail. You cannot fail because of the Spirit who dwells in you. You may be led into a hard test. You may be led into some rough waters, but you cannot fail because of the Spirit who dwells in you. Kingship belongs to Yahweh. Kingship. Not the presidency. Kingship. Not the prime ministerial position. Lord, what you typing? Did King James MES? What does that mean, Lord? Type again. Who? Kingship belongs to Yahweh, meaning sovereignty is His. If sovereignty is His, then you cannot escape His will. You cannot challenge it in any way. You cannot change it. Oh, you asked him King James messed up again because King James said, lead us. Oh, you're driving. King James said, lead us not into temptation. Let me see what he said. That's fine. Because it amounts to the same thing as leading not, do not put us in hard testing. So they were asking not to be put under pressure. But I'm saying for us, we don't pray that prayer. We do not pray about not being led into temptation. Why? Because we have got the Spirit who keeps us with power. We've got the Spirit who keeps us from stumbling. In Corinthians, Shaul wrote to the church that, thank you for the question, Lord. Shaul wrote and told them, listen, with every temptation that you face, there's a way of escape for it. So we don't pray about not being tempted. They didn't have the Spirit of truth in them. And because they did not yet possess the Spirit of Yahweh in them, they couldn't handle being led to temptation because they would have fallen. Now we have the Spirit of truth in us. We are possessed by the Spirit of truth. Therefore, we can handle being tempted because it's not us who overcome the temptation by ourselves. There is a way made for us. I want you to understand why you shouldn't, as a saint, be praying this. If you go to the Father now and say, Father, please don't let me be tempted, you're saying, Father, I don't have your Spirit yet. Once you have His Spirit, temptation is not a challenge for you. And let me blog this Sean Daniels moron. Today's not a good day. I may be a bit tired, so I can't handle idiots. The one who said this, Paul, was a lie in Romans 3:7. Not today. Maybe in another day I can entertain you, but not now. If you listen to people in church speak, I'm talking to people, saints in Yeshua here, and most of you need to get rid of that anyway. They stand to testify so much about the devil saints, the devil, or brethren, they like to say brethren, the devil really had me bad this week. Really? How? How did he do that? The devil is in somebody's child. The devil is somebody's husband. Devil in the dog. Like the barking outside. Devil in the rat. Listen to me, y'all. Kingship does not belong to Hasatan. Sovereignty can only be found in one. And that is Yahweh. You cannot have two sovereign beings. You can never have two sovereign spiritual beings. Impossible. Because if Hasatan is sovereign and Yahweh is sovereign, who submits to whom? They cannot both be sovereign, but Hasatan is under Yahweh in reference to authority. It doesn't work like that. Which is why all this yapping nonsense began. Is sovereign. Sovereign where? There will always be one who is most powerful in this earth. Sovereignty belongs to Yahweh. And because he is sovereign, he can keep you away from certain things that he knows you cannot handle. Which means then that whatever Yahweh presents you to or presents you in, you are capable to deal with it. You're capable of handling it. Just know that. Just get that in your head. And shout, dance, skip, and be happy. Whatever Yahweh leads you to, you are entirely, as a saint, equipped to deal with it. Just relax. It is not as bad as you think it is. The issue comes when you don't pay attention to who has led you to where you are. There is nothing that you can face right now as a saint that you cannot deal with. If you ever make an utterance now that you can't deal with this, you're saying to Yahweh that you don't have a spirit, or he has failed in reference to his sovereignty. And you don't want to do that as a saint. You ready? Neither. Because he's led you to it. What can you not handle? Yahweh leads you to that place. And once you are led to that place, it's because you can deal with it. Further, he said to them that power belongs to Yahweh. And because power is in Yahweh's possession, he can keep you safe. These here from the evil one. Why is that so important to you as a saint? The one who possesses the power is the one who's feared the most. Now, if your God, Yahweh, possesses the power, in context of the power scale, he is the most powerful one. He's the supreme being because he possesses the most power. Yes, Corinne, even it looks as if you failed. Yahweh possesses the most power. Because he possesses the most power, then he's the one who's feared the most. So if he has established any limit as to what anyone can do to you, no one can exceed it. Nobody. Tika is asking a question. My question is, Yahweh will lead you to be a blessing to a person that doesn't know him and believe in other gods. A blessing, what does that mean? Okay, no. I understand your language in reference to the church culture, Tatika. You can never be a blessing to anybody. I understand where it came from because church people like to say that. God has made me a blessing to you. No, you cannot. You bless people. You're not a blessing to anyone. Because blessing speaks to empowering somebody to prosper. So the question then becomes, why would Yahweh lead you to empower somebody who serves another God to prosper? That should be the question. Help, right, that's what I said on Psalm what you're saying. Yahweh can lead you to do anything. You can help anybody. Because that's why I said he is sovereign. Based on his sovereignty, he can lead or direct you to do anything. Because everything that you do is within the confines of his control and power. You cannot go beyond it. So within the sphere of him allowing you to function, there are many things you're permitted to do. But you are confined to functioning in a particular parameter. You cannot ever go beyond that. So as well, I'm saying that because of the power that he possesses, Yahweh determines, based on his power scale, how much people could do to you, how much anyone can have access to you, and what he does about it. For that reason, you do not fear any evil. You do not fear men as a saint. Neither do you fear what happens tomorrow as a saint. Because Yahweh is the one with the power. Because if he possesses the power, he possesses the fear in the person who knows what power he possesses. If people really had a clue about the power that Yahweh possesses, they would never speak so stupidly to say that it doesn't matter what you call him or his son. They wouldn't even risk it. But in that power fact, he's making them say it so he can destroy them. Many of them in the end will be destroyed for that reason. When you understand the power that your God possesses, truly understand it, you don't fear what people do to you. And you don't risk saying anything that's so silly that it doesn't matter what you say. You call him what you want? No, you can't. Because you understand the power that he possesses. You don't say that he would never cause your child or your parent to die. So they're supposed to never die? Since you serve this mighty God, my child will never die. Says who? You don't understand power. Power in Yahweh means that he has got authority over everything. So who can stop him? And y'all like to sing these things but don't believe it. Who can stop him based on the power that he possesses? When Yahweh makes a decision, hear me carefully, the enemy, the saints, the angels with him, the wicked people in the earth, all can only do one thing about it, and that is fall within their respective places in executing that decision. For example, Yahweh may make a decision for somebody to attack you in reference to persecution, lie about you in the job. That's his decision. And don't think I come some happy-go-lucky thing you shout and dance about it. He can make a decision that somebody lies about you so you can get fired. That's his decision. Because he made that decision, then the enemy has to kick into gear based on the decision that was made, the power factor here, to cause somebody in the job to lie about you. They can't do anything but lie. Watch the prayer part here. Wow. Bless you, Sanchi. The power part is that you would now sit in your normal Christian self and decide that you'll pray about it. because God, they're lying about me. Oh, Father, they're lying. I know that they're lying about me. You know they're lying. Yes, He does, so I have to inform Him. You think you have to inform Him that they're lying? Don't you think that Yahweh knows everything? So why do you think you have to inform Him that they're lying? Doesn't He know that they're lying? So in prayer, it is not about lamenting over the fact that they're lying about you, because He knows what is happening already. Remember, He has orchestrated all things. Your position has to be, because I know that you know all things, because I am familiar with the fact that you had to be behind this, I am at shalom. Since, Father, it's only based on your will that this will happen to me. You see how you pray? This is how you pray. You don't say that you bind the devil who's lying. You bind the demon of lying. You bind the demon of gossip. You bind everything in your workplace and bind the billing and all. You don't do all of that. You simply rest in the fact of knowing that, listen, because you are behind this, I have peace in it. That's how you pray. Essentially, you say, Father, I thank you that they're lying about me, because I know that in all of this, it is only by your will that these things can happen. Therefore, I rest in the wisdom of your will. That is how you pray. You do not go to inform heaven about what you're going through, because your faith in prayer is that you have me in the position that I'm going. So I'm fine. That is how you learn to pray, by understanding power. Once you understand Yahweh's power, you pray with confidence. You pray with shalom, because you know that based on the power that He has, you are always protected by power. You are positioned by power, and you are led based on His power. So nobody could do anything to you that He doesn't allow. You like to say, but you don't seem to believe it. The power belongs to your Father. And based on that power, He demonstrates, or He displays His glory for all to see. That's what happens. Based on that's why the USA and the UK and China does these things, because they can't, Russia and all of them, they can't help it. What do? They bring their missiles and parades, and they show you, and they fly the fighter jets and stuff to show the world. That's the glory part. So they have, in the earthly equation, I'm getting you to understand this, they have military power, so they want to show the world the power they have. So what do? They would have displays, and they'll have bomb tests and so on. Why? Because that's the glory part. So they know, the US, for example, they have about the most powerful army. And because they have the most powerful military force, they're saying, okay, then we're now going to display for the world to see the F-15 and all these different jets. We will show them the B-52 and the B-2, the stealth bomber. We're going to show them what we have. What does that do? That's the glory factor. So when you can only display the glory when you have the power. What does Yahweh do with us? And I hope this helps you to pray with so much confidence today. Yahweh's glory is seen through us. That's why you don't go trembling before some supervisor and begging for some job. Yahweh's glory is seen through you. The confidence that you walk with in this earth is a part of the glory being seen. They must know that you don't fear anything. You do not be trembling and nervous before men. I tell you that nothing gets me more angry than a saint being that in that posture. Stop it. The glory is seen in the confidence of the saints. You don't be nervous of anything. You have got within you the spirit of the one who has the power. So what did Shaul say in 1 Corinthians, I think it's 3, somewhere around there, 20? He said, to him who is able to do exceeding. Oh, y'all get excited about that, right? That's how the text come in here. Abundantly above whatever you can ask or think, according to the power that works in you. That's what you have. There is a power factor in you. Now, if there's power in you, there has to be glory outside of you. Glory is revealed power. That's what essentially is. In this case, glory is power on display. And if for a Baptist preacher, I tell you, touching him and asking him, but what are you displaying? Because if glory is power on display, what are you displaying? Why you display fear and nervousness, timidity? As a saint, you must stop ever saying, I don't like speaking before people. Stop that foolishness. Why are you afraid? You, as long as you're positioned to do it, do not say it. If life allows you to be in a place where you have to talk, open your mouth. Don't tell anybody, I am afraid, I don't like being in the forefront. Who says who? Speak. Because glory can only be displayed power. Why did Yahweh give you his spirit and say that he's working in you, demonstrating power through you, but you say that you can't talk? Says who? You might as well type this today before I leave you all. I am glory on this, I am power on display. Write it and put it up in your heart, as they say, in your room somewhere. I am power on display. I am Yahweh's power on display. That's what you must understand. You are Yahweh's power on display. Stop it. Don't tell me I'm afraid to talk. Why? In your natural arena, that's not who you are. But as a saint, you need to understand that you are Yahweh's power on display. When you walk in this earth, I don't care how much money you have and yet you pour it. Don't do that. Don't tell me I don't have much money. You don't have to have money to have power. You are Yahweh's power on display. Yeshua said, I have displayed the glory in you. The same glory said that I have a gift to my disciples. That's what he said. Thank you, Marcia. Bless you. Don't listen to me. Yeshua told his own disciples, he said, when you see them, if they arrest you all and try to persecute you, he said, don't worry about what you say. That's what he said to them. He said, don't worry about what you have to talk. When you go before a judge, he said, before these Sanhedrin and stuff, don't worry about what you have to say. He said, because it will be the Spirit speaking through you. So why are you scared to talk? And you love me for a judge. I sat before a judge with an attorney next to me. Paid attorney too. And when I saw he couldn't talk, I said, Your Honor, may I speak, please? That was a mistake they made. In the chamber, I said, Your Honor, please permit me. He said, yeah, sure, go ahead and speak. Because this attorney right here wasn't saying anything. My attorney. And I began to talk. And the judge looked at me and said, wait a minute. Even look at my attorney, and the other attorney said, wait a minute. Is what this man saying is true? Then my attorney suddenly find, well, yes, Your Honor, yes, yes. So I didn't say it all the time. And I began to speak as a representative of myself. Because I understand the power that I possess. I am Yahweh's power on display. If you get that up here, you would never be fearful in this earth and scared to talk and scared of this person. And when my boss comes to you, boss, you don't have a boss, you have a supervisor. Nobody's my boss in this earth. I'm careful with language. I have somebody who may supervise me on a job. I don't have a boss. If it can't work, tell the supervisor it can't work. Tell the owner of the company it cannot work. If it's unfair, tell the supervisor it's unfair. Tell the owner of the company it's unfair. Stop being scared of people. You are Yahweh's power on display. In the earth, he has chosen you as a saint. He's chosen us as saints to demonstrate his power to the world. So how are you scared? We are chosen to display his glory. What is his glory? His power being put on display. Just as the armies, Russia is going to say we have a tank or we have a missile nobody else has. So they demonstrate, we have this one, you all don't have it. Then China is going to come and say, okay, then we have one, you all don't have. And they'll display their power. That's what glory is. Glory is power on display. So they're displaying for the world to see, and then you make a decision. All right, boy, based on what I just saw right here, I wouldn't go fooling around with Russia now. That's why they do it. So you must understand what you possess and walk in that power. The beauty is that when you step on the scene in a room of wicked people, you must know that you are a missile, or you are a fighter jet, or whatever it is you want to see yourself as, that they don't have. The saint in the room is the most powerful person. You get that? The saint in the room is the most powerful person. Though you have to submit based on organizational structure, you are still the most powerful person based on spiritual principle. You don't flaunt it and be disrespectful, but you function by that principle. So you make your position known based on that principle. You don't be like the other workers who are afraid to talk lest you lose your job, because you know the power you possess. And sometimes, because of the power that you possess, hear me carefully here, that little job space can't handle you. Hence, you're fired to make room for better. Somebody get that. And some of you have lived it already. Because of the power you possess, that little job that you felt so good about can't handle you. So you need to be fired to make room for better. Or you need to quit to make room for better. Whatever it is, you need to be able to function with better in mind. And you may just be employed there to transition into what you really should be functioning into or in, and you should be able to transition into what you own. Glory be to Yahweh. Don't waste time. You may be a cook in somebody's kitchen so you can learn the accounting part of the business now to see how things flow in reference to these things. Then you open your own restaurant. Because that little kitchen is not your destination. She'd said no need for the call anymore. Bless you, son. There you go, Liz says, it's time for this, right? So I quit. I just love you, girl. That's it right there. As gentle and quiet as you are, I quit and move on. So I praise Yahweh for you all. Do well. As I said, I have a wedding to perform today. So we'll continue this conversation. More than likely speak to you in the week. I'm Yahweh willing, because I can sense that there's more to this. You have to understand this. And of course, he said the both I'll be putting out throughout my divorce because I've been self-representing. Wow! It's mind-blowing. There you go. I'm Yahweh's power on display. You do not need a lawyer in some cases. In Ghana, I'll say you have to get a lawyer. You don't have to get anything. So I thank Yahweh for you, saints. But as you walk, remember. As you pray, remember that you are Yahweh's power on display. As always, I thank you for the gifts and the kindness you've shown to us and to my family and me. We are always grateful. I would never ever forget to thank you for them, because they mean much. They demonstrate your attitude. They demonstrate your understanding of Yahweh's word. And I decided to fill this message to my core. Bless you, dear heart. Thank you so much, my daughter. And I'm thankful. So thanks to you. Thanks to Yahweh for speaking to you. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you so much. And I praise Him for your kindness, all of you. Thank you for giving to us. Why do I say that all the time? Because I live among people. I live among preachers. I function among preachers who cannot do what I do. Which is to say, A, I don't need any money from you as tithe. I don't eat money. They cannot say that. For in their mind, they wouldn't have the opportunity to pay for their houses and their big cars, plural, and to send their children to college overseas while yours are stuck here hoping to get through life the best way they can. I've seen it all. I'm grateful that I don't have to come to have 3 special nights of meetings to coerce and trick you into giving me anything. In the name of I heard the Lord say. No. I am fortunate to have been chosen to be surrounded by people who have sense. So, thank you. We meet on Sunday next, Yahweh willing. We'll be at the Bamia Creek on the highway, Suzaik Linden Highway. We'll be eating unleavened bread. It's called matzah. We'll be drinking natural pure juice, and we'll be talking, eating and drinking. You won't be waiting here for us to close our eyes and pray, Lord, and all the rest of it, and then you have to sing 75 songs and all. Don't do that. You're coming to eat and you're coming to drink while I preach. And we have discussions as saints. Alright? Love y'all. Do well. Wish me well at the wedding that they don't beat me up. Bye-bye.